It's been quite a very interesting time here in Zimbabwe. So it's a myriad of challenges that are facing the country, and a lot of people do talk about the economy. But as you just go around here in Harare, you can really feel the atmosphere that a lot of people are really just looking forward to Wednesday, where they'll be exercising their democratic rights. But also something that is quite interesting as well is that you do have the observer missions on the ground from the SADC region, from the African Union and many other structures as well. So a lot of them really cautiously optimistic about what lies ahead. But of course, this is a country that really faces quite a number of issues, you know. But also it's almost like a rematch of 2018, where also you do have President Mnangagwa trying to get a re-election. But you do also have other parties like UZA. Joining us now is Mr. Mlambo from there. So, sir, thank you so much indeed for your time. How would you sum up the situation? Obviously, the moment of truth is approaching come Wednesday. So, from your perspective as one of the parties, how are you feeling at this point?
Good evening. At this point in time, we are optimistic that the day that we've been preparing for is almost approaching, and we can safely say it's almost 2 days away. And today is the last day of our campaign, and our team has been everywhere doing the final preparation on our campaign mode. Yes.
During the course of the night, we do understand that the police ministry is going to issue a statement, and one of the concerns that has been raised is the issue of violence. You know, we've seen some fatalities recorded in some instances. What would be a message to all the role players in this regard?
In this regard, I can safely say, let's remember that we are Zimbabwean first before we can become politicians. And the same people that are being the victims of the violence are the same people that we need to vote for us. So I would encourage every Zimbabwean to remember that this day that is coming is to exercise their constitutional right to vote for parties of their own choice and candidates of their own choice. And violence will not solve a problem. We as Zimbabweans, we must be united first and be Zimbabwean first before we become partisan. That's the message I can send to the people there.
All right. And just briefly, before I let you go, sir, what did you get from the electorate? What are some of the pressing issues?
The pressing issues, I think, for today, we have managed to have access to the voters, to the ballot papers, which were distributed in constituencies and provinces. And those ballot papers were printed with the numbers, serial numbers. I think that was a concern that was raised before, but today we have managed to see them. And I think that's one step to transparency that we were actually hoping for.
All right. Thank you so much indeed, sir, for your time. Of course, Iman, that's Mr. Mlambo from one of the political parties here in Zimbabwe, that's UZA. And we do know that they have a female presidential candidate, Elizabeth, who will be running. So quite a very interesting time here in Harare.
It is interesting indeed, and you know, I suppose a lot of people would be looking forward to a day when there is a woman in the ultimate office in the land. But we talk, and just go back to the issue of Emmerson Chamisa. You heard him talking tough there in the lead up to our crossing tonight. And he's talking about having the ability to return the country to macroeconomic stability, even pursuing the unicorn, Khayelihle, of single-digit inflation in the country. These are big promises, but he's also shared skepticism about whether this will be a fair outcome. So how's the election contest sort of shaped up until this point?
Well, it's a very fascinating time, Iman. Obviously, I mean, that has been a very key message from Mr. Chamisa, really talking about all these reforms in terms of the macroeconomic environment. But also you do have other political parties as well who are talking about change, who are talking about all kinds of things. But also in terms of the re-election message from President Mnangagwa, he's been talking about so many things that he has done in terms of turning around the economy, but also talking about the importance of making sure that Zimbabwe is able to reclaim its space. But something also that is going to be very key during the course of the days will be the message from the observers. And of course, a very all-important task by the Zimbabwean Electoral Commission, because they must make sure that these results are free and really reflect the true will of the Zimbabweans who have really endured quite a very harsh period.